Welcome to another episode of The Crow's Nest. I'm your host, Christopher Corvo, and on today's episode, we're going to entitle it Corrections Part 1. You see, we've been doing these episodes for a while now. We got a bunch under the belt, and as we've always said from the very beginning, hey, we're not perfect, and sometimes we're going to say something that's a little dumb. So we wanted to take an opportunity to look back at some of our earlier episodes and try to correct some of our past mistakes, try to right some of our past wrongs. And I really gotta shout out Robert Avery for taking the time to catalog some of these mistakes. So we're gonna take the next 20 or 30 minutes to go back in time, look at some of these episodes, look at some of the times that we put our foot in our mouths, and try to unravel some of these linguistic knots that we've tied for ourselves. So without further ado, it's my great pleasure to present to you our next conversation. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, we've done a bunch of episodes so far. Some have been good, some have been bad, but you know what? You're going to have to listen to them anyway because you're our friends. You are compatriots, and that's what friends and compatriots do. They listen to the
art,
the
by their friends.
Correct. So what we're trying to do is be responsible podcasters and try to correct some of our past mistakes, errors in our thinking, and different factual inaccuracies, and to really lead this charge towards not telling a lie, telling the truth, and correcting our mistakes, will be the legend Robert Avery. I give him the mic. Lead us down this road towards perfection and correction.
All right, everyone. Thanks, Chris. So this is going to be like us putting ourselves on the roast, and we're spinning it, and I'm stoking the flames. Because we're no experts, we're human, we're going to make mistakes. I'd like to think I'm perfect, but I'm far from it. But let's just jump right into it. So we, in a couple of the past episodes, unfortunately, Chris Corvo has mistaken the Watchmen character, Dr. Manhattan, and he kept calling him Mr. Manhattan. And none of us had the heart to correct him. I'm sorry to say I did notice it. Did notice it. One time I didn't. It just went right over my head. But one time I did notice it, and I was like, should I correct him? But I think you were in full flow. I was just like, fuck it. So he's
I
Dr.
demoted
Manhattan.
him. I took away his doctoral.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this guy was every fiber of his being, his atoms were separated, and then he came back together, giving him godlike powers. You can't be a mister.
My mistake, Dr. Manhattan, wherever you are on some distant moon creating life. I didn't mean to demote you. Didn't mean to take away your doctorship. But forever, now I will know you are not a mister, you are a doctor. Thank you, Robert Avery. Please proceed.
That's all right. And then the second one is when there was an episode where we were talking about our ideal places to grow up, and just like where we would live the prime of our lives. And I chose Los Angeles in the late 20s and the early 30s for the burgeoning film scene and the origin, the genesis of Hollywood. And in that episode, I said, and Chris correctly pointed out, he's like, so what are you going to do for sports? And I said, I guess I'll have to watch a sport that I don't like, baseball. And lo and behold, as it turns out, sure as shit, there were no sports in the 20s. There was no baseball. The only thing was collegiate sports. And there was no professional sports in Los Angeles in the 20s. So the Dodgers were definitely still in Brooklyn playing baseball. There was no Los Angeles Dodgers until the 50s. So I look like an asshole. So there was no professional sports in the beginning Hollywood scene in the time that I wanted to live in Los Angeles.
So do you want to change your time, your where you'd want to live or the date as of this episode?
Absolutely not. I'm actually happy that there's no baseball there, so I don't have to go. But I will miss sports, so I guess I can't go do college sports. All right, whatever. I'm still picking the 20s. It's too good. But once again, I'm only on set. I'm an extra or a production assistant. I want no responsibility on the film.
Okay.
I just want to be invited to the party.
Okay, you
So,
want to be in the king's court, but you do not want to be the king.
no, you can keep the crown. I'm good. And so next one is
Wait. So
Oh,
would you
go
want to
ahead.
be Brad Pitt's character in what was the Hollywood Story, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Would you want to do that?
Stuntman sounds dangerous, but yeah,
What up? What
that's
up,
kind of
professional
cool
handsome guy?
because you get
All right,
that's
fair
better.
enough.
I don't want to be, but I mean, Brad Pitt is pretty badass in this movie. I'll take that if I had the skills,
All right, fair enough.
but I don't know. I don't know if I could.
So professional handsome guy,
be a stuntman.
1920s, but no fighting. You just want to look good, maybe smoke a cigarette, and
Yeah,
hit on the ladies.
and yeah, and then go to those the parties like they go to in The Aviator when Jude Law, Adam Scott, and Leo go to that party with Kate Blanchett.
Got it. Would
The
you be writing
Aviator.
a novel in your free time?
Yeah, most definitely. It's probably a Charles Bukowski esque uh, novel.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. That's now we know. Now
yeah,
we know if I get a time machine where I will be dropping the legend Bobby A. Robert Avery.
that's
He will
right.
be going to the 1920s.
Yes,
Boom.
and yes, I will happily. And then the next one, this one is pretty egregious because I said someone died when they did it. Uh, there's a sports documentary called The Two Escobars, and the real story is Pablo Escobar and his organization in Colombia were huge fans of the Colombian soccer team that was participating in the 1994 World Cup, and they lost to the United States because one of the Colombian players, also named Escobar, put the ball into his own net. So he scored a goal on his own goalie and his own net. And that's how Colombia lost to the United States. Now, Pablo Escobar, so there's hence the name Two Escobars. What I said, to put a bow on that story, the guy ended up coming back, the soccer player ended up coming back to Colombia and was murdered by Pablo Escobar's regime, his organization. He's just because he put the ball in his own net in a sporting game, in a soccer game, killed by Pablo Escobar. And I mistakenly said there were two players that were killed because I thought there were two players named Escobar. But that's very dumb because the other Escobar is Pablo Escobar. So let's clear that up. Only one player died and was killed by Pablo Escobar. All right, so are we good? The drug lord. And the other guy's name is Andres Escobar and Pablo Escobar, who everyone knows. So that was pretty egregious. Only one person died.
Was that showcased in the Narcos TV show?
I've never seen Narcos, so I can't tell you.
Okay, maybe Netflix season 1 of Narcos. I think they do show this if anyone's interested.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
All right, another one is pretty bad as a soccer fan. So 2 soccer mistakes made by me. Sunderland, remember we were talking about the sports documentary Sunderland Till I Die, how the city basically lives and breathes this team, and the whole mood and activity of the city is it's dictated by the result of the Sunderland match. I mistakenly said Sunderland is in Teesside when it's really in Tyneside. So there's 2 regions in north and east England. They have very thick accents. It's called Yorkshire. It's the bigger heading. And there's a neighborhood called Teesside where Middlesbrough is. That's Teesside, all right by the river. And then Tyneside, it's a little north of it, where the city of Newcastle is. That's where Sunderland is. It's in Tyneside, not Teesside. So that's pretty bad. And I got a lot of shit for that, especially by a friend that I have that is definitely integrally involved with Middlesbrough FC. So that needs to be corrected. So that was an embarrassing one for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you notice it, or was it that someone else Someone else
I
pointed it
noticed
out.
it when I listened to the episode, and I was like, "Oh, that was cringing. That was bad."
Well,
So, all
anyone
right,
he corrected the mistake. It's been
yes,
rewritten. We're okay now.
the tough look for me. I was kicking myself for it, but then when I mentioned it to like, because there's a crew of people who follow English soccer as like fervently as I do, they were none too pleased because it's the towns really have a sort of a rivalry too. So to confuse them was very off-putting. So I had to correct that. That was eating away at me. All right, so moving on to there's going to be a lot of these folks because we fuck up a lot. So that's just the way that's the nature of the nest.
This is true. The nest is not a perfect place, but it's a place of acceptance. We love everyone.
Intolerance, yes, we welcome all.
So tolerate us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now
All right.
let's move on to our very first, our flagship episode, where we were talking about Prometheus and Alien, and we couldn't, for the life of us, think of the director of these movies. I think I called him Scott Ridley, which is also wildly embarrassing. His name is actually Ridley Scott. Is the director of Alien and Prometheus, and the entire Alien franchise. Actually, does that ring a bell, Chris, for you?
Yes, Ridley Scott. Yeah, I mean, we both know this name. We just were having, I guess, a senior moment and
Yeah, he
forgot.
also made Blade Runner too. So like, I don't
I
know
mean, he's
how
a
I forget this.
well-known director. We both know him.
I know very well. That's pretty fucked there. And he made Gladiator too. Now that I'm
Yes, I
thinking
love
about
that movie.
yeah.
I had that
Scott
movie on
Ridley.
VHS.
Scott Ridley is the guy that you see at the coffee shop who's taking too long, and he waited for 4 people to order, and then once he got to the front of the line, that's when he's going to decide what he's going to buy, and he
You're like,
gets
come
like,
on, Scott,
yeah, that's Scott Ridley,
get the hell out of the line.
and he's wearing like loafers with no socks and linen pants and probably a loose fitting Hawaiian shirt and a backwards dad hat. That's Scott Ridley. That guy sucks.
I think you know this person. You painted too detailed a picture.
Yeah. Well, fuck Scott Ridley. So it's Ridley Scott.
Hey, if there's anyone out there named Scott Ridley, don't take offense. There's someone listening who's like, dude, how is he
how does he know who I am?
How does he know what I'm wearing right now as I listen to this?
Yeah, exactly. All
right, Ridley Scott. We got
Ridley
that.
Scott. Ridley Scott. Incredible
Director of Aliens.
Incredible filmmaker. Just many hits. Sorry, Ridley Scott. I apologize. Okay, now next one is this one cut me deep to my soul because it involves Batman. And I mistakenly said that the original Catwoman in the comic books was the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. Blonde hair, blue-eyed. Dead wrong. The original Catwoman was more of the Anne Hathaway look, the Julie Newmar look from the 1960s Batman. The original Catwoman is a brunette. Not blonde. I was wrong. Anyone who's listened to me, who was laughing at me, you're right to laugh at me. I was a dum-dum. That was trust me, I pride myself on my Batman knowledge. That was major fuck up. So I think it was because, remember when we were growing up, the animated series? So the animated series and the Tim Burton Batmans had the blonde, blue-eyed Catwoman. For some reason, I was like, that has to be the original one. That was my thought process, but Catwoman is more of the Anne Hathaway look. So,
and I remember that episode. You got so fired up because you were like, Anne Hathaway is not Catwoman. Catwoman ain't this brunette woman with dark eyes. She's this. So now we both know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So how does that make me look? just top moron. All right. So.
Hey, we're all believe me, we're all doing it. We're all making that mistake.
Yeah. So, Catwoman, I apologize. Oh man, that one got me. All right. So
and this is a little side note for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
The cartoon Batman still holds up.
Absolutely.
I have access to it. I watch it. It is still good after all these years, which is kind of crazy. That's a testament to how good it was.
Wait, how do you watch that? I need that.
I have the DVD.
You have the physical media. Well done.
No doubt. Yes, I do, man. It is excellent.
I remember I had on a hard drive. I had every single episode, but I no longer have the hard drive. I misplaced it. That's painful. I had the entire series digitally on a hard drive, and I misplaced it. I fucked up again. All right. So there's also another episode where Joseph, myself, and Chris were talking about just I forget which episode it is, but we were talking about the future and what the presidents will look like and how they would behave and how they act, and we only used he. So we got three guys assuming that even 60 years down the road there could not be a woman president, and I want to correct that right now. We support women, see women presidents. There's nothing wrong with a female president. So, and absolutely, not only is there nothing wrong, I would like to see it. I'm a fan of it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's pretty messed up. I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
no. So I want to. I'm supporting this move. It's not even a movement. I just want female, and it looks like we're going to get one this year, at least as a vice president. Anyone can be president. I want everyone to have the opportunity to be president. All right. So just the audience, if you pick that up, which I'm dead on sure many of you did, that's not what we meant in the context of that conversation. You want to add anything, Chris?
No. I think I recall the episode. Yeah, that was not intentional. I think that's just an unfortunate oversight that we didn't think, and maybe we need to be more aware of the future possibilities, and not just the presidency, but really in all aspects of life.
Exactly. That's a good end note right there. All right, and then another one was in a recent episode. I call Darius the White Buffalo. I'll give anyone $1 million if they can tell me what the fuck the White Buffalo is. I don't know what that is.
I mean, I would imagine there's a such thing as an albino buffalo. I mean, you were going for, what were you going for?
I was going for a white whale. I was going for Captain Ahab.
It's still the same damn thing. If you saw a white buffalo, it would be pretty exotic. It would be unusual. It might be off. Yeah, I mean, you're okay. White buffalo, white whale.
Buffalo's not even a marine animal.
Well, I mean, you didn't say you were going to find the white buffalo on your ship. So I don't know, man. Maybe you're on the prairie.
Well, that's good.
Gallivanting around on your horse seeking the albino buffalo. I mean, there's probably some legendary albino buffalo. It's got to live. It's got to be around.
Yeah. So wait, dude, yeah, exactly. Yeah, what I was going for is Moby Dick, everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
The white whale.
Yeah, the white whale, not the white buffalo. Jesus, Murphy. I have no idea where that came from. All right. Anything. All right. And then.
Oh, man, you got to do the impression.
Oh, God.
So hold on. Let me set this up. One thing that most people do not know about Robert Avery is that Robert Avery indulges in an impression or two. And I'm going to tell a story for a moment. You all know that my man Robert Avery enjoys a Matthew McConaughey line or two. And I recall, we were on a work trip, and Robert thought he was alone. And he was, taking a hot bath in the jacuzzi, thinking that he was all on his lonesome. And
oh shit, I know where you're going with this.
And in the distance, I hear him, me and my friend, we hear him practicing his Matthew McConaughey voice and lines. So on today's episode, we're going to have Robert do another impression, not a Matthew McConaughey impression, but we're going to have him do his legendary Baelish impression. And for any of you who don't know who Baelish is, I don't know where the hell you've been living the last decade, but this is a Game of Thrones character, and Robert Avery is just a super fan of this character, and it's probably
the actor as well.
So I think to wind this corrections episode off, we're gonna have Robert do his Baelish impersonation. So it's all you, man. Take your moment, center yourself.
Okay, so here, let me do a little preamble here. So first of all, these are the tricks of the trade of the Baelish impression. There's not to say mine is good. I'm still working on it. I've been working on it for a while, but hopefully you think it's pretty decent. By no means is it the impersonation out there. Of course not. But it's like Chris said. I enjoy the character immensely. I enjoy the actor. So naturally, you want to start speaking like him. And this is how you do it. You kind of gotta talk from the back of your mouth. So when you let the air, try to let it through the side, like not through the front of your teeth, but to the side of your teeth. And you got to kind of smirk like he does, where he does that little smirk. That's what he's doing. He's like talking out of the side of his mouth, but from the back. So you don't use the middle. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's when you're doing it actively, you'll get it. And then another thing is he has that kind of northern, because I believe Aidan Gillen is Irish. He's Northern Irish too. I could be wrong at that. I think he's Irish. So he's not traditional English. So he has that Irish twang, that tinge in his voice. So even when he's just speaking English, and every consonant overpronounce every consonant. So if a word ends in a consonant, like the word right, it's not. I would say right. I would be like, hey, you're right. Baelish says right. So you got to overpronounce the consonants. All right, here we go. You're so right. And also, you got to whisper. Just talk in a whisper. You're so right. For instance, when I thwarted your plan to give Sansa Stark to the Tyrells, if I'm going to be honest, I did feel an unmistakable sense of enjoyment there. But your confidant, the one who fed you information about my plans, the one you swore to protect, you didn't bring her any enjoyment. She didn't bring me any enjoyment. It was a bad investment on my part. Luckily, I have a friend who wanted to try something new, something daring. And he was so grateful to me for providing this fresh experience. There you go.
I was taken back for a moment, man.
It was good.
I could see. I know the scene exactly. I'm seeing it, man. For a moment, I was like, "Whoa, I'm watching Game of Thrones right now."
Yeah, baby.
Oh man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into this episode. This is a corrections episode. There'll be more, plenty more. As long as we're doing podcasting, there's definitely going to be some mistakes.
For
and
sure.
I love that. I love that you pay attention and make note, because it is true. Some of these are just funny, but sometimes we're going to say something that is kind of rude, and it might not be our intention. So I'm actually really appreciative that you keyed in on some of these things, and we're like, oh, okay, we need to fix it. We need to go out on record and say, okay, this is what we meant, or this is what we should have said. So I appreciate you for actually paying attention and taking this seriously. So
no doubt.
That's awesome. All right. Stay tuned for another episode. Have a great night.
Peace out.